Hi, everyone. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. I apologize for being absent, but I appreciate your loyalty. And for the ones that are here in the chat right now, if you'll give us a like and share this video, I'll see you with my friend Satoshi Sean on the other side. Hey there, Sean. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And thanks to everybody in the chat that's here, Tom and Ocean, and where else? I saw some other people in here earlier. Magic.
Jason is here.
And Jason. Good
and
to
welcome
see you all.
to the other side.
Welcome to the other side. Hey, public. So, goodness. My brothers have been here cooking, so they leave the doors open all the time. And so there's flies in the house now. So I apologize.
Oh.
I'm at my mom's.
It's so weird. It's like January and there's bugs.
We've had really strange weather. Yeah. It's been unusually warm.
It's like 60 something, almost 70 degrees today. But we have a winter storm coming in.
Yeah, so they're prepping for it for sure. Governor Abbott's already made, noise that he has gigawatts of power stored up or whatever. And I'm like, is this to educate people that do those kind of things, that they're storing power and they're preparing for these kind of things, or the lack of preparation in the past? Or I don't know. I could go all kinds of ways with some of that.
But
I was really frustrated. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Last time I was in the hospital during this snowpocalypse. So
you were.
I don't remember it. But what was weird is most of the state was screwed. Most of all of our town was screwed. And then we had a line burst. So the town didn't even have water. But for some reason, my street and the next street over had power and water. It's the weirdest thing. The boys were telling people, come on over. We got, heat and electricity and, but we don't have internet. So they had to find DVDs and stuff to watch. But that was, and then I was in the hospital. So they had, power and everything, but the internet went out. So none of the instruments worked and the nurses couldn't work. Like the young ones were they were like, we have to use these things. They're called pencils.
Thermometers. Yeah.
No, it's like pencils. And they couldn't keep up because they're supposed to, check vitals and stuff. And they were like, we have to do it every 4 hours instead of every hour because we can't write stuff and keep up with everything. But that was like a day, and then the internet was back on. But
crazy. Well, and a lot of those programs that they use in the hospital, that's all software driven, all that, and a lot of it is through cloud services. So
yeah,
it would be interesting to see how that would.
It was odd. I remember they came in and the doctor was like, "Well, you're all good, but you can't leave." Like, why? Because no one can leave the hospital.
Oh wow!
There's no roads or anything. She's like, I fell twice coming from the parking lot into the.
Oh gosh!
Hospital. So she's like, you're here for 2 or 3 more days, just
And that's got to be a bizarre thing in Austin, to be in the Austin area and experience that, to be trapped by weather.
Yeah, I was in Waco because
none
of the hospitals were accepting anything with COVID. Didn't matter. If you don't have COVID, they wouldn't accept you. So I was like, why do I have to go to Baylor, to University Hospital? It's like 2.5 hours away, man. They're like, it's that or Houston or Dallas. And we have 7 or 8 hospitals, within 25 miles of us. I mean, there's so many hospitals here. It's ridiculous. And
but they would not accept anything unless you had the C?
Yep, nobody would. They're like, no, none of the local hospitals will accept anyone for
Follow the money. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, that doesn't make any sense, man. But they were empty. It's like not like they were, at capacity or something.
No,
So
it's because they got more money for it. They want to leave those beds open for the ones they get paid double on.
yeah, I guess, man. But it was weird. Because there's 3 hospitals like within. There's 4 hospitals now. They built another one. There's 4 hospitals within like 15 miles of my house, and then one of the biggest hospitals in the world, Scott and White. It's one of the like top biggest 10 is in Temple, and that's like 20 minutes away. So I mean, there's 3 hospitals in Temple, but that's like huge. And then Austin has a bunch of hospitals. There's so many hospitals. And they're like, nope. Like the last guy that came in here, we sent him to Houston. I was like, fine. I guess Waco it is. Fine.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, crush the like button.
Yes, please. Thank you, Tom. And thank you, Ronnie. So just to catch everybody up, I have been absent. I've been here at my parents' home. My dad, my hero, passed. So everybody send Mom lots of love. And there's a picture on the thumbnail of this video of my mom and dad and the dog that I hate, my mom's dog. Ignore the dog, but my dad and my mom look great on the picture. So
it was a good picture.
It was a good picture, yeah. So getting back in the groove. So I really don't know what the heck's going on, but I did see a lot of weird stories about large, there was a huge Bitcoin wallet movement, like $3.6 billion.
Yeah,
a Bitcoin moved into a single wallet.
From the Diffinex thing, I hadn't really looked into that too much. But that is a huge thing. That would be that's worth a little panic in the market.
Yeah, let me find the article so I can show it to you guys. Because I sent it to Sean. Let's see, I don't have my links all pulled up. You guys, I apologize. You gotta give me a little grace today. Join Twitter. Well, I'll consider it.
Here we go. That's from Bitcoin News. $3.6 billion. Here we go. 3.6 billion in Bitcoin from the 2016 Bitcoin hack consolidated to a single address. $23 transfers. It's about 80% of all the Bitcoin stolen.
Yeah, sorry. They logged me out, and now I'm only logged into like my work.
It's 94. Jeez. Almost 95,000 Bitcoin.
This is really frustrating. And someone's at my front doorbell. Sorry. Hey, Charlie, somebody's at the front door at home.
23 transactions to get it all sent there to one wallet. The last time they did this was when it was nearing 64,000. It's high in mid-April. They transferred it there, was tracked, and that started the downward dump.
It's like not letting me. Okay.
How amazing would it be if they sent 95,000 people a Bitcoin?
Oh my gosh. But it went to a single wallet, right? It didn't go to.
Right, but multiple. If they sent it to a single wallet, and from that wallet, they airdropped all 95,000 wallets, that would be incredibly awesome.
So there's another airdrop coming out, the T drop, the Theta drop. is supposed to be coming out. Can you kind of explain like how an airdrop works for people, or what that
Well,
is, or
usually it goes
why
to
they do them?
certain wallets that fit the parameters of the drop. Um, the wallets are usually whitelisted for whatever reason. People want to take part in it, or they do a snapshot or whatever. But there's a group of wallets that they send the coins to. Um, and there's lots of reasons to get to get people involved in the project or the coin, to give them a
Okay.
little bit to get them interested enough to either get some more, or even if they start selling it, it's it's
So movement of that coin, or
what's the word I'm looking for? Exchanges have it. It's what is it? You know,
liquidity.
no
No.
volume. It's volume. It's trading volume.
Volume. Okay.
Yeah, it's trading volume. Like especially on a new project, to get some numbers up. People they do it for that reason too. Um, but yeah, that's usually what they do um, airdrops for, or like I said, usually or to get people to take part in something, um, like to buy some, and if you're holding it at a certain time to take pictures, then you'll get an airdrop. So that also creates volume and demand, and people buy some. Uh, but also, like I said, just to get the word out and to put it in the hands of people, and to get because people, I mean, you'll see, oh, I got $1 worth of this. What is this? And then you look it up and find out a little bit about it. And if it's a good project, then essentially they bought your interest in it.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. This is very odd, guys. I'm sorry. They've logged me out of, and I can't get into my Twitter on my computer, but I can on my phone. So hopefully I can figure it out.
Canadian trucker thing is pretty cool.
That is really cool. I heard they're going to start a US one from California and go to DC. That would be cool as well.
Yeah,
The
that would be
Canadian.
cool.
I like the it says truck yeah is the new is a trending thing.
Yeah, I
I like
posted
that
that
one.
if you're a Canadian trucker, you're an honorary Texan.
Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
it's taken a while for them to kind of take action. Um, I've been surprised that it got to the lockdowns, it got to them arresting
Well,
Green in the street after 9 o'clock p.m.
yeah, they're
You know,
pushed really far,
they were.
and they are also much more polite than we are. So
I don't know. We haven't really taken action, so who are we to talk? At least they're doing something
yeah, that's another thing where
at the same time.
it's embarrassing. We're Americans. Um, Somebody said something about that. Say, hey, we're Americans. We don't do. I was like, dude, that's what Americans do. We solve things through violence and through defiance. That's what we do. We defy it, and if we push back twice as hard. We don't stop pushing because we die on every hill. That's what makes us us. Um, but yeah, I thought the Canadian trucker thing was awesome, and I hope it
Mhm.
kind of spills over here into the United States and we start. But still, Trudeau is saying, this small amount of people. It's 50,000 trucks, man. At the time when he said it, I think it grew more. And these people are out in sub-zero weather. It's not like it's
I saw a thing of them out though playing like street hockey or something, ice hockey
yeah.
or something.
I mean, they're
I'm
much
like,
more used to it, but still, it's like
yeah.
negative 20 degrees, and they're out there, holding signs. So, but Trudeau said it's a fringe group of a few people, and it's a massive.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
But that's the same
50,000.
thing they say about Trump's,
Mm-hmm.
rallies. Oh, it's just a few people. Meanwhile,
It's so massive. They're so. He had a rally in Texas last week, and it was pretty huge, man.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah. It was right by where my brother and sister live, and they were here with my dad in his passing, or my brother and sister-in-law, and they were talking about how the neighbors were talking about, the streets, the neighborhoods and the streets were packed, and how many people, there locally were affected because there were so many thousands of people there for it. So, like,
he's definitely reinserting himself as still a voice and the leader of the Republican Party, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't come back and doesn't take the presidency or anything, I think still he's the voice and the leader of the party, which is really weird because we talked about a long time ago. I think it was me and you, but the crazy thing that we came up with, maybe it was me and Beatles, but about the Speaker of the House thing. And then I know I talked to the guys at Consent to the Governed about it, that you don't have to be
about it.
Yeah,
you do not have to be
elected to Congress to be the nominated Speaker of the House.
Right.
And that is a way that we said that could go down, but it was so crazy. And now to hear like pundits talking about it on TV, it was like,
do you know what's crazy about it is it says that I'm already logged in, but it's signing me in as my work. This is so weird. So it's like refusing to let me sign in. Okay. I just have to give it up and figure it out later. No, what's weird to me is that the first time I heard about that is from someone that works at a 3-letter agency currently.
Mm-hmm.
That was an idea. And I was like,
well, it's a real possibility, very far-fetched, but now, nothing's far-fetched now. Nothing's far-fetched now.
Yeah.
I was watching, I don't know if you know, Awaken.
I still don't think it's a positive thing. Like, I don't know that is the best thing for America if he is the one that comes back, though. If he comes back, like, I think what his role is right now of him saying, like, I endorse this person, and him rallying the people.
Yeah, like the leader of the Republican Party.
Yeah, and him being in a position of outside, like the other night, not in Texas, but the one before, so the Arizona one, where he's saying, government, stay out of our home, stay out, away from our children, stay out. Well, he couldn't make those statements as the president of the United States to say.
That's the thing.
You know what I mean?
I think the only way it would be good if he did come back is if it was to lead what they say happened on the 6th. A full-out
opposition.
Full 100%. Not mincing words, not pulling punches. No, it's over.
But the risk in that
thing said, a new republic.
Yeah, but the risk in that is that when he's gone, people think it was him that did it. They think Trump did it. And the people forget that it's us. It's
everyone thought Washington did it. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what you would have to push. And that's I think that's what the Canadian trucker thing shows, where real power lies. Real power lies with the people.
That's a great point.
But Washington had to say, I'm not going to be the president anymore. We have to have certain terms. You're just making me a king if you keep electing me as president.
Exactly.
We can't have that. So that's why they have limited terms. I wish they'd have done that for Congress too, but they didn't. They didn't think that far ahead. But I think that would be one of the only good things about him coming back, is to be an actual leader for that, and to fully clean house and get rid of it all and then rebuild it from the ground up.
So I guess he could do that in Congress then, as the Speaker of the House, just like Washington did, where he said, "You're making me a king." Well, Trump could be the Speaker of the House and
no. I mean,
is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, fight. I mean, all 3-letter agencies have disbanded. I mean, the government is no more.
Yeah.
All new elections for
that has been done or written, just not
all federal. Anything federal. I mean, the states are fine, but all new Congress, uh, all
Did you
new,
see
maybe.
the law that's being passed in Oklahoma that Oklahoma can hold its treasury in gold and silver to avoid paying federal taxes?
No, I did. We've been talking about the Arizona thing with
Yeah.
making Bitcoin legal tender for about a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's coming.
Wendy Rogers wrote that bill, I guess 4 or 5 days ago. They submitted it, but it hasn't passed. Some people are putting rumors out there that it passed already, and
yeah, I think it's going to, and I think it's just gonna. Everyone will follow suit, especially like freedom-loving states like Texas, Florida, New Mexico, Nevada. Those they're all gonna fall in line when that happens. It's just like,
what do you think about the language in that with them saying Bitcoin? Will it be all cryptocurrency or will it be
no,
Bitcoin specifically?
Bitcoin specifically.
You think it will be Bitcoin specifically?
Bitcoin's the only viable crypto. It's the oldest, never been hacked, no problems. Everyone understands it. Most secure, strongest. When it comes to,
But that's not true.
what's older than Bitcoin?
No, not older, but like Bitcoin. I mean, isn't that like Litecoin has? Litecoin is the same as Bitcoin, but it's faster. And it didn't Bitcoin go down for a while or something, and Litecoin
No,
hasn't ever
nothing
gone
is as
down?
secure. Nothing is as secure as Bitcoin. Nothing's as known as Bitcoin. Nothing is as accepted as Bitcoin. So that's
Nothing's as
why.
known as Bitcoin, but
Right. Bitcoin will
I'm
be the
pretty
only
sure
one,
Litecoin's right there with it.
but it's not going to be
And
accepted.
Mimblewimble just was released.
Maybe, maybe down the road or something, but it's not. It's not going to be the foundation of cryptocurrency being accepted by governments. That'll be Bitcoin. With Brazil,
Government.
with Brazil looking to follow in El Salvador's footsteps and make Bitcoin legal tender. That's it. South America is done. That is the biggest.
And not just
economy.
Brazil, but now Turkey is having those conversations.
Yeah, and that's a whole. That's a whole other place. But South America, that's the IMF has this huge hold there. I mean, that's the resources. That's oil. There's so much that they're losing control of, and they're scared shitless about it. So once Brazil falls, the rest of South America will go. Mexico is like one of the biggest oil producers in the world. They're going to go, and then it's them. Canada has been kind of on board for years. They've been on a fence. They were the ones who started talking about CBDCs before everyone else. But if we go state by state, and Mexico, that's like really North America, and then once Brazil goes, that's South America. I think that's the tidal wave that'll move across everything. And I think that I mean, you can see that clip of Hillary Clinton talking to the World whatever organization or the IMF, where she said, "Hey man, we got to watch out for these cryptocurrencies. They're going to destabilize the dollar." So they see it coming. But I think it's too late. I was worried that it wasn't. I mean, it's still really not. I mean, one government could move in and just still really buy most all the Bitcoin, but they would kind of just drive the price up. I don't know if they can destroy Bitcoin now. I was kind of hoping it would be a little bit further down the road, but I think we're coming up to the fight time. They've ignored it. They've laughed at it. All that. I think we're in for the fight time now, and then we win.
Well, and I just think that like Bitcoin operates outside of the U.S. or the IMF. Like they're almost bound. They're bound by their own rules, where Bitcoin doesn't have those rules, right?
I was looking at when was Bitcoin taken over by a cabal? It's never been hacked, and it's so.
No, even if it was created by the cabal, it's a tool that anyone can use.
Yeah.
Are the good guys using it or the bad guys using it? Someone creates a gun doesn't mean that a good guy can't use it to protect his family.
Yeah. I was talking to who was I was talking to I think it was the leader of or the founder of Luna, and he was like, "Hey man, you heard about that new project?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Dude, they just printed like 8 trillion coins. It's like it's really cool, but it's got like a ton of users, but they only have one validator node." And then I was like, "What?" He goes, "Oh wait, that's the U.S. dollar." I'm sorry. I was like, "You got me.
Oh,
You
sorry. I
got
was
me." Okay.
talking about the US dollar. Yeah, I was reading a tweet, and I guess we've probably all heard this, like more than 80% of the current US dollar supply is printed last year or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is literally crazy.
Oh, it's crazy that we're here right now for this time and going through all this. And it's crazy to me that like all this is going on. Like my siblings are here, and apparently they watch my show because they were making digs at me that they would only know if they were watching my show. So hi to all my brothers. Love you guys.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I wish my
It
family
was,
watched mine.
yeah. Well, they don't really watch. They only watch to, probably do digs. But anyway, um, it was like a movie this week. I think mostly like something Family Stone or something. But crazy week. Anyway, sorry, I digress. But it's interesting because I have, we were raised to be, Christian, God fearing, mostly conservative. And most of what my brothers, here listening to conversations in the house and stuff, like they're all agreeing, but there's like this wall where then you say something to them and they're like about the dollar or, the Federal Reserve or something, and they like can't get past that. But that seems too ridiculous or crazy or,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to me once you see and educate yourself and learn about the history of the dollar and, have that conversation about, in 1964, the minimum wage was 5 silver quarters. And
Oh
today
yeah.
that would
Yeah.
be about $23 an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not that our minimum wage was broken or wrong. It's that our money's broken. And
It's
so
the
you
money.
try to have that.
I always used gold with a Ford, and when he started the assembly line, he paid
Oh,
all
yeah.
for everyone. Ford was paid in gold, and it was like 50 gold ounces a year, or 27 or something. But and now the average pay for assembly line workers like $27 or $29. But if they just would be getting paid in gold, it's kept up with inflation to where it's the same amount. Like they're making like they'd be making like 20% more if they still got paid, the same amount of ounces of gold. Or or I tell people if a loaf of bread costs $1 or an ounce of silver, and then 2 weeks later it costs $2 or
Right.
an ounce of silver still, then obviously the bread didn't go up in price. Silver didn't, it changed. Nothing. The only thing that changes the dollar's worth less. That's
Right.
why.
It's not that the bread is different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting. 'Cause, they're all really intelligent guys, and listening to these conversations, it's like we could have this conversation up into a point, and then there's just this hard stop of like, oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy. And I was like,
I was talking to someone on a show about that. That I think we've done all we can do. Like
mm,
anyone who's going to listen, anyone who's going to have an open mind, it's done. But the seeds are there because I've had so many people in the past 18 months, 2 years, because of the demic, that they've woken up because I planted
I
the
think
seeds. They were like, "Hey, man, you were right about this." hey man, I didn't think about this, but you were right. Why am I paying taxes if they can just
Mhm.
print all this money up? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, why can't they just print it up and pay for stuff? Why? You were right. This is weird. It doesn't make sense. Um, but that also is, people are starting to wake up. That's why the narrative's kind of ending, and we're finally at the tail end of all of this, which I think is going to end by March. Um, because you can see it on Twitter. You can see people that were staunch. I got my 27, boosters, but I got sick, and my kids are sick, and my neighbor's an asshole, and he's not got it, and he's fine. He's like, I'm still really positive and supportive, but it's kind of hard to do that when you see all this, and then
Yeah.
now the studies are coming out that are legitimate from governments like Israel and places like that, and
And the hard stop that you saw in the UK,
yeah, and that's
after the lawsuits were filed for murder on some of
and
the
also the
people
judges
for
are
the
saying,
side effects.
no,
Yeah.
no, you can't keep that information for 87 years or 70 years. You
Right.
got 18 months or whatever.
Right.
That's when things are stopping. But it, people are starting to just ask, and people can see what I always said, what I think common sense people said, hey, this is a brand new thing. I don't want to say whatever the word is,
Right.
but I want to wait a year and just see what
Yeah.
happens to these guinea pigs that are willing to, go ahead and do this. If you want to do it, fine. That's your choice. But I just want to wait a year. If I get it, I get it. If I croak, I croak. I thought I was going to be dead. As soon as it came out, I was like, that's how I'm going. Here we go.
Oh,
I've been waiting for this, man. Apocalyptic shit. Absolutely. This is how I'm going to go, man. Totally sci-fi. And then if you have this pre-existing condition, I have every single
you're
pre-existing
like,
condition.
I have the whole list. Yes.
Every single one. My doctor's like, Sean, you've been borderline. You finally have diabetes. You got it. It was like almost when it came out. Like, you got to start taking this medication. Overweight. I died of lung failure. So I got lung issues. I mean, it's like everything on the list. So that's one of the reasons my kids were so freaked out. Because I was like, yeah, if I get it, I'm gone. But, I've been overcompensating with vitamin D, with zinc, with vitamin C, with all that for, the whole time. And everyone's gotten sick but me. And I've been around people that have had it, that have caught it. And maybe I had it and it wasn't that bad because I'm so overpumped with preventative stuff,
I think the information out there, I think one of the things that is upsetting is that the amount of disinformation out there really puts people in a dangerous situation, because there were even people overdosing from D. And that's where it's just so unfair, because it's like, well, what is the truth? Like, if we had accurate information, then we could all look at it and we could make free will decisions that were our choice, and safe or not, that was our decision. But when there's so much misinformation out there, that's what's dangerous. Once again, that transparency
or
and
not just
honesty.
misinformation, but lack of, because there's suppressed. Don't talk about preventative stuff.
D,
Don't
all
talk
of the
about
above,
health,
I would have to say. Yeah.
So
Because here's an example. I'm sitting there, passing time and on Twitter, and I'm watching the president of Russia come out. Putin comes out and makes a statement and said, I'm not declaring anything. There's no action being taken.
Yeah,
The same day, the president of Ukraine says, you have fake news in your country. There's no anything coming in my country. Your news media is lying to you. And literally the next minute, my little brother walks in the house and he goes, well, I guess we're going to war. And I was like, what? And he goes, I just heard it on the news. I was driving up here from he went to the store or something. And I was like, did you actually listen to the presidents of the countries that are involved in this? Because they just spoke and said,
it's like white people talking about what black people need. That's what I hear. I mean, president goes on, he's like, I talked to the president of Ukraine and he's all scared and we're going to help him. Like, the president of Ukraine's like, dude, we're not really worried about stuff.
He's like, We're
We're
fine.
okay. Why are you freaking out, man? You're freaking everybody out here, dude. And all the people are just, Russia this and Russia that. We got to go to war. There's warmongering like insane. Like insane. When I was a kid, it was we're all gonna die. The world's gonna end. It's like, hey man, you want to party this weekend? Yeah, man, as long as Russians don't annihilate us and we kill them all. It's like, yeah, that's how we lived. We lived ready to
Yeah,
die.
because
The
we had
world was gonna end. You know,
what was the Patrick Swayze movie?
that
What
the
was
day
the
after
Patrick
tomorrow.
Swayze movie? No, Red Dawn or
Oh, Red Dawn.
yeah.
But see, it wasn't like because I live, especially I live by nuclear weapons. Like, this is the biggest military base in the world. We're going to be blown up so many times. So, but growing up, we accepted that we were on the edge of destroying the human race at all times. We didn't worry about a school shooting. We were worried about ending
Right,
of all life. That was and it was
right.
like, it literally was like, we accept our music is talking about that. It's all there. It would people today, kids today wouldn't be able to handle it. Not at all. We that was a regular thing. It's like, hey, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. World's ends. The world ends. But
Yeah.
it's over. We won. The Soviet Union is done, and Russia. People need to do their. First off, everyone disrespects the shit out of Putin. Putin is a bad dude. He's done bad shit, but he's the
Mhm.
president of Russia, and Russia has was one of the United States' biggest allies when we fought for independence. Um, we've had a close time with Russia. We'd be Nazis today if it wasn't for Russia. All the shit they've done, still,
Wow.
and I read some articles like, it's like everyone disrespects Putin. They push him into a corner where he has to push back, or else he's a pussy. And
Hmm.
they know that. So that's one of the reasons why the military industrial complex pushes for this stuff, is because it's easy. I mean, you can't. It's simple to push him, to get him to push back,
Poke
and
the
there's like,
bear
oh, look,
kind of thing. Hmm.
they exactly. Well, like Trump said, why would it not be good for us to be friends with Russia? Why would it not be good for us to get along, for everyone to get along? Wouldn't be
Why
good
would
for
it
the
not be
military.
good for everyone on the earth to not get along?
Well,
Like,
because the military industrial complex isn't making money on it.
right,
They don't make money
right,
on people getting
exactly.
along. You
Yeah.
know,
Look at whose pocketbook suffers when there's peace. That tells you a lot.
exactly. It's always follow the money. It always
Hmm.
falls down to following the money. It really, really does.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Just
Crazy,
reading the
crazy
comments.
stuff. Yeah. No, we have great people. There's Divvy Daddy and Randy, Stephen Tyrell,
Wolverine.
Trini, Tom, Ronnie.
Yeah, rather buy a meal and a stiff drink. I've been hearing people quote Eisenhower, and he's just a lot of like massively racist things from post World War II, like the Russians not really human. Just the same things like about Indians.
Speaking of racist things, well, I don't know if I can pull it up now because I can't get on my Twitter, but maybe I can find it. This most insane person saying that the Holocaust was not
Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi
racist.
Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg. The
Yes,
Holocaust was not about racism.
yes.
That's it. That's it, dude.
That
You're
was the
done.
most insane
That's
statement.
the dumbest thing I've heard in forever.
Oh, they just have the apology on this. Regret, apologize, or apologize, apologize, apologize.
Did she
I mean,
apologize?
apparently, because that's all I can find on Google is 2 pages of her apology. Apology.
It was.
Page
I couldn't.
3
I couldn't
of her
believe that.
apology. Yeah, there's 3 pages of her apologies.
I wonder if Biden will go on and be like, "You're not black if you think the Holocaust was about racism."
I wouldn't surprise me.
They're all so terrible, man.
I mean, this is insane.
She said
Oh,
that
now
on.
she's
She said
done it a
on
second
the
time.
news.
Sorry.
I thought she tweeted or something, or just made a comment. I didn't know she actually said it.
So here, let's see. After she said on the talk show that the Holocaust was not about race, actress and TV personality on ABC's The View said the Nazis' genocide of the View was involved because it involved two groups of
white people.
Then she apologized, but in a muddled attempt to clarify her weight, because in her first apology, she screwed up and had to say sorry again. So the Nazis, who believed themselves to be an Aryan master race, murdered 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. I survived 2 concentration camps.
And it wasn't just Jews. They went after other people of color and anyone that was that they deemed that were not Aryan. So that was, that was gay people, that was disabled people, that was it was about race and genetics. That's God, that's dumb. I really can't believe she said that. I mean, they say dumb stuff on that show, but that was
so. This says that the discussion was sparked by a Tennessee school board's ban of a graphic novel about Nazi death camps. The school board said it was banned because it had profanity, nudity, and depiction of suicide, inappropriate for 13-year-olds. And Goldberg said to her co-host, I'm surprised that's what made you uncomfortable, the fact that there was some nudity. I mean, it's about the Holocaust, this killing of 6 million people. That doesn't bother you. If you're going to do this.
The nudity was weird to me as a child, but it was like, to me, it was gross because they were naked, but they weighed like 60 pounds.
But they were also showing the torture. Yeah.
It was the horror of it. It wasn't like, hey, there's a boobie. I mean, it was horrific.
Yeah.
That was 12 or 13.
Torture.
So at the time, National Geographic was like, whoa. So, but there was nothing. I remember the confusion that I felt like, that's a naked person and I am disgusted. It's like, whoa, that's not a normal thing for me as a kid.
Which she did say it's not about race. It's about inhumanity to another man. So interesting that when you go into the conversation, it's about white supremacy. Somebody said it's about going after Jews, Gypsies, and Roma. These are 2 white groups of people. She's countered.
Gypsies they're not white. Jews are from the Middle East. They're not really white.
Right.
But we're not white. You're the pinkest lady I know.
Well, thanks. Mia was always confused about all that. Like we would talk about, she would talk because people always had conversations because we called Mia and Cannon the twins because they're 6 months apart and they were born with the same. She had her heart transplant. Cannon still needs one, but because of their age and everything and the way they came into our family, we always called them the twins. Well, he's a little white, blonde hair, blue-eyed boy, and she's a little black girl. And so then when they would see them, people were like, and it would shock them. And so we'd have conversations, about what, but everybody's skin is different. And then I have a son who's Mexican, half Mexican. And so it's like, he's also adopted. And it's just really interesting that what we call people, but it's not ugly or bad. Like there was actually, when I adopted Mia, I felt like it was, it was my responsibility to learn about how to care for her hair and her skin. And just like a mom would learn to care for her baby in any way. And so I got involved with a natural hair group, African-American ladies. They're amazing. And there was one study they were showing me about how it was back, like, I think in the 70s or something, where they like stopped talking about, it was this whole trend to like not talk about race at all, where these little black girls thought, well, it must be so awful that I'm this color that nobody talks about it.
Nobody makes the point that they're not race. There's no race. There was only 2 races. There was only 2 races on the planet, and we killed the other race. They're gone. But there's only one race. Genetically, there's the human race. It's just a color. That's literally all it is. There is no race. In fact, to say that there's a race is really like genetics and Nazism, because it's not a race. There's just one race. There's nothing that separates us except color. It's that's it.
Well,
We're
but
the
even
same.
that is not a separation, because I think about like my Mexican son. Well, do you call him black or do you call him white? Or
Well,
do you,
it's
you
just,
know what I
I think
mean?
it's
It's
just like
such a
saying you're a blonde or brunette.
ridiculous statement.
I literally think
Right.
it's the same as
All
saying
blonde
blonde or
is
brunette.
blonde. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
all
Yeah.
just melanin pigment. Like, I don't know. It's
Yes.
insane to me.
Exactly. I want to read you these books. These are banned books in schools now. Lord of the Rings, White Fang,
What?
The Call of the Wild, Fahrenheit 451, Catch 22, Brave New World, Native Son, The Jungle, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Grapes of Wrath, Great
What?
Gatsby. Are you ready for this one? This is going to be a shocker that they banned this. 1984. Yeah. And
Well,
Lord of the
that doesn't.
Flies. Lord of the
Oh, come
Flies. All
on.
those. They're banned. Because now that parents are, starting to do homeschool, and they're getting, like you are, they're finding out more about the curriculum and that these books are banned, and they don't want you teaching your kids about them. And a lot of
I
parents are like,
would want my
"What?
kids to learn about 1984, with supervision.
You
I
would,
mean,
but not the powers that be." And if you look at that, it's all about coming together, or about the Lord of the Rings. It's about triumphing over evil, or it's about fighting back against uh, against fascism or control. A lot of it is, or about our differences and overcoming them. And it's crazy that they're getting rid of these books, but they're putting like porn shit in to teach
yeah.
you know to teach kids that stuff at young ages.
What was that one that mother came to the school and she was like reading it out loud, and they were embarrassed having her read it at the meeting. She goes, "No, if you're embarrassed about me reading this at a school meeting, with
Yeah,
adults, but you want my child to be able to read this about giving like blowjobs or something." I don't know. There's
yeah.
some
I
other.
think the
I don't
perfect thing. I
know.
remember because there was a huge controversy over us getting sex ed in 8th grade.
Okay, Tom, this is not a true statement. I love you so much, and I respect you. Kids do see color, but color is beautiful. Kids love color. It's not about not seeing color. Everybody
No, he
does
said
see
seek.
color.
He didn't say see. He said kids don't seek color.
Don't seek. Oh, sorry, I don't have my
Yeah,
glasses
and that is true. I
on.
mean,
Thank you for
basically,
clarifying to me.
saying
Yes, they don't see.
racism is learned, racism is taught, and
Okay,
that's true.
I agree with you, Tom, and I take that back. Yeah, they don't seek, but they do see color. We all should see color. Color is beautiful. Every color is beautiful. So sorry, I got distracted.
And then, I mean, if you think about that, I can just see. Remember, we talked about was what cooties were, but
Yeah.
can you think about being like a 7-year-old kid and having your best friend be a different color, and then seeing everyone
Mhm.
around you all in a fervor about it, and then you're like, "Hey, Jamal, why is everyone all freaked out about this?" And then they're like, "I think it's because you did something wrong, or you don't like my family." And it's like, "I like your family."
Mm.
And they say, "You don't like my family." No, no, and then they actually just start
It's
an
a
argument.
Hatfield and McCoy thing.
Yeah, it's
You
they literally start it by putting it in kids' heads. We
Mm.
just leave them alone, let them be kids. I remember I grew up in the projects of the inner city, and I had no clue about racism at all. I was on the playground, and I was playing with these kids, and this girl, she's like, "This is bad, man." But we're playing. She started, because I liked her, and then I think she was actually my girlfriend then. And someone said something about a zebra, and then she said, "I saw a zebra." I was like, "You saw a zebra? Where?" She's like, "At the grocery store." And I was like, my mind was blown. I'm like, "You
You're
saw a
like,
zebra?" I said, "You saw a zebra at the grocery store?" what grocery store did you see the zebra at?
You're
And
like,
she's
I'm
like,
wrong.
she's like the Acme, on this like street. And I was like, is it still there? Was it like, did they have it there? Like you could pet it? Or she's like, no, just walking around. It's like, where was it? Like by the meat. And they're all cracking up because they're talking about a black and white couple. And I had no idea. I
Oh,
think they're talking about a zebra. And I was so excited that, so I like a couple of days later, I
that's
was
why
with,
you think it's so funny when you guys say terms. I don't know what it is. When you
yeah.
guys do your
So I
locker
was with,
room talk or whatever, and
I
I
went
don't
with
get it.
a friend of mine. His uncle was a paramedic, and or a fireman. He brought us to we're at the firehouse. He's given us a tour, and then he they had a call, and this ambulance is going out, and they stop, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm going to call." They're just like wasting time. It's like, "Where are you going?" "Oh, there's I think a heart attack over at this." It was this supermarket where the zebra was. So I was like gonna leave and I was like, "Can I go with you?" Because they have a zebra there. They
Oh
both
my
thought I was
gosh.
insane. It's like, no, my friend
Yeah.
told me they have a zebra in the store. It's by the meat department. They thought I was nuts.
You're
And then
like,
later,
you're not.
my friend's
Yeah.
like, no, it's black and white couple. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. But it was hilarious that for like I thought there was a zebra at this grocery store for like a week. And I was like wanting to
But
go
yeah,
there. So
little kids don't think about that at all.
yeah. Well,
At
in the
all.
late 70s, I think black people did, especially. There was a lot of race stuff going on, like race wars and whatnot were happening. Then it was pretty bad. I remember
Sure.
I was actually in the middle of one. I was playing. My mom ran this after school project, and she ran this like government thing for unwed teenage mothers. And I was I would get out of school, go ride public transportation into the heart of the city alone, and then walk through like the worst neighborhood, the heart of the ghetto, Illinois Avenue. It's not Illinois Avenue anymore; it's MLK. And then I go, spend the day there at the after school program where she ran it. But I was outside playing on the stoop, and I looked over down this end of the street, and there was a huge group of black guys, like younger, like late teens, early 20s, just walking in the middle of the street, and I was like, that's weird. And I looked way down the other end of the street, this big group of white guys. They're walking in the middle of the street. I'm like, that's not safe.
You're
Why are those
thinking
people
like,
walking in the
that
middle of the
doesn't
street?
seem right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm playing with my Evil Knievel stuff, Oh, okay. And Star Wars figures. And they start getting closer. They're still walking in the middle of the street. And then I'm like, that is someone's gonna hit by a car. And then all of a sudden this bottle crashes in the middle of the street. And then they just start running at each other. It's like, oh, this is like West Side Story. Oh my God. So I run inside.
Except
My friend,
guns.
that was my friend
Yeah.
reference, man. Yeah, it was West Side Story. So I had to run inside, like, the cops, came, and it was this huge, crazy thing. But yeah, weird childhood.
So Charlie and I have a story like that when, because I had all that experience doing inner city ministry for years with the church, and then running OK Foster Wishes, founding and running the nonprofit. And so when Charlie and I were first dating, one of our very first dates, I was still trying to get like furniture for my rent house with me and the kids, and I didn't have a big enough dining room table, and so I was going to go down to this little place. It was kind of like not in a good part of the town, but they had these really cool, they took like old farm wood, and made these really beautiful tables and stuff. So I wanted to go there. So we went, and then we were going to grab some lunch. Well, it was over by the place where we used to have to meet. There were a couple weeks there before Mia was hospitalized when we very first got her, where she was stabilized from the children's center. Maybe that was after her first surgery. Now it's kind of a blur. I'd have to go back and look at the records. But anyway, when Mia was little, we had a couple of meetings with her mom in what I would refer to as the hood. And I would be like scared I'd have to park my car in the back, and I'd call security, and they would walk out and they would walk me in with the baby to meet with her mom. And I didn't know, like, was family or somebody going to jump me and try to take the baby, and it was very rough, very, very rough neighborhood. But, then as we had a couple more visits, I had to bring Zach and Carly one time, and there's this little diner across the street the other way, and they had like the best pie and like home cooking kind of diner food. And so I was like, oh, we're over there. I was like, I know, I'm going to take this little, city slicker boy, this car dealer guy, and I'm going to take him to the hood for lunch since we're down here. And I was like, oh, go here and turn there, and I'll go over here. And he's like, oh, where are we going? I said, the Grill on the Hill, Capitol Hill. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah. And he acts like he doesn't know. And then we drive past it, and he goes right around and parks in the back of the building. And I was like, you can't park here. I don't know, because there was no parking in the front. He's like, oh, I think it'll be all right. And he walks in the back of the building, goes in the kitchen, and starts hugging and kissing everyone. And I was like, what was that? Well, come to find out, like, here's Grill on the Hill. Here's the street. Here is the DHS office. And right behind the DHS office and the parking lot that I was terrified in is his mother's house where he was raised. So here I thought I had this, little rich boy that I was going to take to the hood and show him what for. So that whole experience was, I don't know, that's what reminded me of that story.
It was weird being raised. It was weird being raised by like my mom up north, where like my grandfather was racist, but it was a different racism. It's quiet, whereas here, like in the South, it's not quiet. Like my grandfather never said anything, and he was like, vote Democrat and all that, but like he would get mad at me for watching the Jeffersons. And I never knew why. I was like, this guy's hilarious. This little dude is funny. He's like, oh, you don't like watching this. Like, why? I just do. Watch something else. I was like, no, I love this show. It's one of my favorite shows. This dude's hilarious. Look, he's running around in the bed and jumping down. He's like 4 foot tall. This is so funny. So, but coming to Texas, and I grew up in this, special area where it's Fort Hood. So it's, it's not the same as everywhere else because there's so many other people. And when you get just a little bit out, like like the next town over is on this side of Fort Hood, but it's Gatesville. It's not really the same as.
Did you know Fort Bliss?
No, Fort Hood. Fort Bliss is El Paso.
Okay, my dad was stationed in Fort Bliss. I just saw on his DDT or DD whatever that we had to turn in to get his flag for the funeral. Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
That's when you said that. I was like, what? Sorry.
But that little town, it was so different, and that's where my ex, her family hated her because she was not racist, but they were like super backwards, and like they used the N-word instead of black. There was no malice. Like I'd always, if I'd heard it, it was a cuss word. It was an angry word, and they were just use it instead of black. Like there's no anger. It was very weird.
So you have to know that my dad was 90 when he passed, and so he's old enough to be like almost my grandfather, and or probably my grandfather. But anyway, when we first met him, I remember him telling stories, and he would use that word about they had people that lived out back so his dad was a podiatrist, the first podiatrist, chiropodist in Oklahoma that helped lobby to get the licensing passed in the state of Oklahoma. So he has like the #1 license for podiatry in the state of Oklahoma for surgical foot doctor stuff. And they had okay, well then you're well aware. So he had a dog food factory on the back side of their property because they were huge hunters and they always had dogs and all kinds of stuff. And Papa told this story that they had black people, and he used that word, and he said they were so excited because they had a baby, and he said when they had the baby, he couldn't wait. When their friends came over, he went over and they talked to Miss So and So and wanted to show the little baby. But he would use that word, and I'm like, Papa, that you can't say that. That's not nice. Later in his later years, he didn't say that, but early on, it was said with, like you said, with no malice. And I was like,
it's so weird to hear it so calm, and that it was just like it's odd. Plus, like he was a state trooper, and his partner was black.
Maybe it wasn't that word. Maybe it was a different word. I want to say it was like a different slang.
Well, he even used that word to talk about his partner, and he would be like, "Oh yeah, he's a good N-word, man. I like him." It was so odd and so weird. And when we moved there for a while, we lived in that town, and we lived on the side of town where black people lived, because there literally was a side of town. And everyone said this to me, and I never got it until my ex-wife explained it for a year. Like when we looked at the house, it's a really good house. It's like the rent's great. And then I found, I was like, yeah, it's a little dark on that side of town though. And I was like, there are a lot more trees over there than there are on the other. Yeah, that is, yeah. But they're, it's nice. And then I had a couple other cop friends of mine. They were like, yeah, it's a really dark part of town over there. And I'm like, yeah, everyone says that, but there's not a lot of trees by us, but there is on the street. It's really, really a lot of trees. It's a little darker. And everyone's like, no, there's black people there. That's why it's darker. And I was like, oh, that's really weird to say that. Okay. Huh?
That just breaks my heart. To think
it is so
that we want that is where they want us, the people, black, white, every color in between, separated because we are weaker apart. They know we're stronger together, the more of us that are together. So they're trying to divide us. It used to be by color because that was so easy to do. Then thankfully, I do think people became more enlightened, and there are less stupid people in the world, and realize that color is not such a thing. And that's where that started going away. So then they're like, well, what can we separate them by now? And now they've got a big part of that was
people were allowed to talk
medical
about it.
Decisions.
That people were allowed to talk about it. People were allowed to have conversations, because I would have conversations with my in-laws, and I'd be like, "That's dumb." Like, no, it's different. They're they smell different, and they have different cultures, and it's just biological. It's like, no, it's not. And I would explain why. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. What you're saying does not make sense. So I figured that as a child when I was literally, I think 7 years old, that races were good because if you let them speak, they made no sense. You know what I mean? It was ridiculous. But if you didn't, because I had friends that their parents would tell them stuff, and then I had a weird moment because I really looked up to my grandfather, and he bought me this toy, and he put a cap in it, and it was a little bomb, and you threw it, and it made the pop. And he's like, hey, so my friend was like, I don't want you letting that kid play with that, just for you. Don't let anyone play with your toy. But he was telling me not to. And my friend's like, hey man, can I do it once? I was like, yeah, okay. And he just dropped it nicely, and it broke in half. And then I was like, oh my God, my grandpa knew magic shit. So I had to go back and I'm like, Grandpa, my cap bomb broke. And he goes, you let that kid play with it, didn't you? And I was like, and I'd never lied to my grandfather in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I broke it. I broke it myself. I didn't let anyone play with it. And he was like, all right, must just be a piece of crap. But that bothered me for so long. Because I was a kid. Now I know it was just happenstance. But I was like, maybe I shouldn't have let him play with it. Maybe there's some weird, but I had to, I learned that was ridiculous, But if I hadn't,
I mean, truly, and not to be disrespectful of your grandfather or anything else. Yeah, just truly is ignorant.
to the kid about it. So it's like, yeah, that's just stupid, dude. That was stupid. But if I'd not been able to talk to anyone about it, or it was just within, I mean, if my mom was racist,
Right.
then of course. But it's like my mom dated black guys in the 70s, which was not acceptable to do at all. But I mean, being raised around that, I never thought different. I didn't know any difference. But
Like I
it's
said, I
still
just really think
still
more and more of
ingrained
it
in.
is to divide us. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I think it's taught a different way now. It's it seems like all of the anti-racist stuff, it's more just being preached by white people about what black people need, like they can't do it on their own, which I think is a disservice and is actually just
It's
as bad.
demeaning. Yes,
Yes, that's a very
I
meaning.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
But they're screwing themselves, because I was talking to my son's best friend, who's Mexican, and he's a staunch Trump and super conservative kid, and I was like, he keeps talking about the borders, and I was like, but they're cutting their own throats, because they think that everyone that's coming in is going to vote for for like socialist stuff, and I
Oh, wow.
said, you're a Mexican guy, Shuey, and you're the most staunch conservative, that I know, one of the most, and you're really well educated on issues. And he's like, yeah, but and then he starts talking about, well, I don't know, because he starts talking about the news and stuff. I was like, dude, these people left places like that. They want to get away from things like that. They're not going to vote for it. They're shooting themselves in the foot by bringing these people in that they think are going to vote, for those policies, when they're going to vote for the whole reason America's, what built America. They're going to vote for those policies, which I think is going to happen. But
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen right now. I feel upside down. I thought something was going to happen before now. And
yeah,
I really thought I wanted for my dad for something to happen before he left. So like right now I'm a little, I don't know.
Well,
My hope
I think
is a little.
you and I both know that we don't know so much about the universe and how that works, and how. But I do know that I do know that love is a quantifiable energy and thing that goes through dimensions, that goes through time and space. I know it does connect scientifically. It's a real thing. I'm 100% sure on that. And like I said, I know that there's so much more we don't know than what we do know. That we're literally ridiculously stupid. It's another thing I realized when I was in second grade. But when my teacher told me that gravity was not a thing, that it was a theory, that we can't prove it, because we don't know how to make a gravitational field. We can make a magnetic field, but not a gravitational field. I was like, whoa. So you're telling me that we don't know, or we don't understand, or know why we don't float away? And he was like, no, Sean, you're such a troublemaker. We know this. And I was like, no, you just said it's a theory, we don't know. Well, it's probably how it is. And I was like, I can't believe that.
Great. That's like my one reoccurring nightmare, is that I float off the earth. Now
we don't even know how that works. And then like literally a month later, we're talking about how we see things. And then he told me that we don't really fully understand how we see things. We know that it's a reflection of light, that it goes through these lenses in our eyes, but that our brain interprets it and tells us what we see. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I got a question again. You're telling me that we don't even know how we see what we're seeing? We just think we do, but we don't have 100%. We don't understand exactly, like colors. Like, colors aren't real. Our brain tells us we see purple, but the color purple could not exist in the whole universe, and we wouldn't know it because our brain's just telling us we see it. I'm like, are you
And
serious?
that goes back to perception, which means if you and I both say that's purple, but if there was a way for us to somehow see what I think purple is and what you think purple is, maybe two totally different things.
Or if our brains just told us that purple was green and there is no purple, we would just, that's what we would see. And I was so shocked. It's like, these are basic things, dude. We don't know why we're standing on the planet or why we see what we see. I was like, really? I was like, we don't know anything. And that my second grade teacher did not like me very much. But
and then he's like, great, now go write the Matrix movie.
Yeah. No, he's like, Sean, go in the closet. I'm locking the door. It was, yeah. Oh,
wow. Well, I got to take my mom to dinner. Thank you for meeting me here and being my welcome back to
enjoyed
the
it.
world.
Oh, by the way, the Lagarde story that you sent me.
Yes.
You know,
that's 100%.
You know, it's 100% fake, though.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's ridiculously fake. It's the opposite. It's like a joke. Yeah.
Oh, was it from one of those joke things?
Yeah. What did she said? Cryptocurrencies are not money.
Salary. She explained. Okay.
She blasts Bitcoin's role in facilitating money laundering. That's Bloomberg and all that. So yeah,
they deleted it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's very much, very, very much against it in every shape and form.
Well, I know she always has been. That's why I was like, wait a minute, what is this? The Lagarde to take salary in Bitcoin, sliding irreversible path of hyper Bitcoinization.
She's she's a criminal. She's a
of course she is. Yeah.
No.
Literally.
She was found guilty in New York, and the judge said that this is the most dumbest thing. The judge said, I'm not going to sentence you to jail because I know that you'll never work in the finance industry again after this conviction. I think that's enough to know that your career is over. So that's what your sentence is. You're convicted, but that's it. And now she's the head of the IMF. And going to be the head of the EU, all their finances. I mean, that's just that's so ridiculous.
It's insane. Completely insane.
We do live in an insane world, though.
I got to figure out how to do this thing. Yeah, it was so great to see you. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys, everybody in the chat. Thanks for jumping in and welcoming me back. And you guys be sure to send Crypto Nana for LTC on Twitter some love. I appreciate everybody that's reached out and sent her a private message or tagged her in something or sent some love to her. I know magical internet friends matter. So I appreciate all of you guys. And we will have a celebration for Papa at a later date. We're going to do something maybe for his birthday with the local military and possibly with, we were able to do the lantern, light the lantern with Patriot Party rocks. And his signature is on that document that's filed with the Library of Congress. So we're going to have that involved, hopefully.
Are you close to Fort Sill?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you close to Fort Sill?
Fort Chaffee.
Are you close to Lawton?
No.
Okay.
We're in Arkansas. We're close to Fort Chaffee in Lawton. In Arkansas, in Fort Smith.
I used to have an office in Lawton.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lawton is in South Oklahoma. So we're like diagonal the other side of Oklahoma.
Okay.
In Arkansas. But
Arkansas.
Yeah. Nana in Arkansas. So we're up here near Fort Chaffee, but she's got a contact with a guy that she's done some other stuff with, and they're going to set up some kind of, she's still deciding which memorial to donate to in his honor. So we'll get that figured out. And then people were asking about sending flowers and stuff. And so Johnny Litecoin's going to set up a wallet in lieu of flowers, that Mom could use that towards funeral expenses or whatever. But Johnny will have that wallet and he'll post it later.
Cool.
Yeah. People have been asking me, and I'm like, please don't send flowers. But it's very sweet of you. And Mom appreciates it. But she also, if you do give, make sure she wants to know who it is, and so that she can give you a thank you, because it means a lot to her. Like, there have been several people in the community that have made an effort and reached out to her. And she's like, it meant a lot to her that they reached out to her. So
Definitely.
yeah, it does mean a lot when people do that. So appreciate all of you so much.
We love you.
We love you guys too, and I'm grateful for our family and our community. And I know Papa would be proud of all of us and the things that Nana has fought through and led us to. And I'm proud of my parents and the legacy that my dad leaves behind. So I'm glad to share it with you guys. We will see you guys next time on The New Normal. Take care.
See y'all later.